Hey there everyone, here we are with video number 2 in the Conversations with Overwhelmed Scrapbookers series. What we're going to do today is make a very simple, no stress, no overwhelm layout. So if you've watched video 1, then you will know what you need to bring today is some photos, 4 to 6, some paper and embellishments, preferably one print or a complement to that if you like, some plain white cardstock for your backing, and you may need some basic trimmers and adhesive. Perhaps you'd like to prefer to watch along and see what I do, but I'm going to compile this video in a number of sections, so there'll be some cuts and cutovers to show you, I guess, inside my brain. I want you to keep it simple. We're going to be exploring what it is that we love about scrapbooking. And it may have been a long time since you've scrapbooked, or perhaps you've never scrapbooked before. So I have a couple of layouts here that I did a couple of months ago, and they all used a very simple recipe. So one of the things I want to teach you today is that having a few basic recipes that you can use will help you, I guess, if you're really stuck in that, can't work out something to do with your photos, that's something you can always rely on and go back to. But we're also going to look towards the end. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much detail, which I have a tendency to do. We're going to look how we can up-level our scrapbook layouts from the very basic to second level, third level, maybe even fourth. This is about me getting people out of their overwhelmed place, but I'm sure somebody's going to ask. This is the Make It From Your Heart Volume 2 book. And a lot of the designs in here are very old because this book was designed some time ago. Amazing foundations. So this layout here actually comes from this one. And one of the things I also wanted to show you this is to show you how you can just pull out one or two elements from a sketch. You don't have to do everything that is in here. So this design here is what I would call a fabulous foundation layout. I'm going to be using this stretch across here. I'm not actually going to be using this sort of middle center that this layout tends to focus on, and it's got your two modifications here where it's sort of got a scalloped center and this one's got a very flowery one. I'm actually going to leave that off and we're just going to focus on this really basic foundation that I've sort of extended. So the main key of this one is 6-inch and 3-inch. Now, why do I love the 6-inch aspect? Is because if you've got one sheet of paper, which is 12 inches wide, then 2 pieces of 6-inch is going to fit along here perfectly. So if you've got a single 12-inch printed pattern and you want to stretch it across 2 pages and not sure how to do that, then this is a great foundation for that. Please ignore the fact that I have stamping on here. I will show you some other layouts, and the one that we'll actually pull together after I've shown you these samples, we won't be doing any stamping, but this is just a number of variations that I've used stamping on. Now, of course, your photos are also 6 inches if they're not cut. Now, you can always crop those off, and often I will take a 1/4 inch here, but sometimes when you want to lay them across, you want them all to be uniform, and you may be fixed with a 6-inch photo. Here's a couple of photos, for example. My daughter will kill me for using this one. And then again, she might feel like a movie star. Some selfies she was taking. Now, I can't crop that anymore. That's how the photo was taken. So I want to be able to fit a 6-inch photo. And of course, if I put that just straight on there, it's not going to show any of the lovely paper. So 6 and 3. Now, let's have a look. I don't think this is actually 3. No, this is actually 3 inches. So you can extend your 6 inches by adding zip strips, by adding 1/2-inch strips of cardstock, by 3 inches of paper, 2.5 inches of paper. But what I want you to remember for this formula is 6 and 3, which will give you 9 inches. A little bit more with some embellishment. It's probably going to leave you 1 inch at the top and the bottom or thereabouts. So, but that's the key to our formula. So the other great thing, or the main thing I love about this foundation, is that we can fit lots and lots of photos. Now, whether it is photos right across, so let's have a look at some of the options here. So if you've got 6-inch photos, you can butt them all together. And if I was doing that, then I would just keep the paper shorter. But often what I do is just have a little bit showing through. So this is actually the layout as it's supposed to be. And I love that it is sort of freeform, so you can put more landscape, more portrait photos, depending on what options you've got. You can change it all around. So how easy is that layout there? Now, obviously we need to put some embellishments. And if you have a look on the next couple of layouts, I've used that basic foundation with some layouts. But really, really simple. We haven't had to crop many photos. This might have already been a small photo. You can crop them if you like. There are so many combinations that you can use this foundation design of 6 and 3 with. This one here, and I purposely left this off. So this one here is the same thing. I've used the same paper. I love a bit of a stripe. I'm going to be able to put some photos over this. It doesn't matter if I cover some of the title, that's okay. So, you know, it might look something more like this. Let's have a look. I'll put that one down, that one up. Let's do it this way. So here I've got an embellishment. So I can put these whichever way I like, depending on where my photos are. But I'm still going to fit, 5 or 6 good sized photos on here. And, you can decide on your design depending on, what you've got. I could probably fit another one there. Let's have a look. A 4-inch photo. Okay, so I just really want you to see, and obviously, depending on your photos, if your photos are very pale and your background's very pale, then I might map some of these. I might map a feature photo. But it does allow you to have, in the previous design it was very simple. This one's sort of a little bit more decorative to show some of that through. Now the reason I've got these 2 little pieces here, they were offcuts from things that I was doing. I know I need to have another embellishment, so a triangular look, and this will go somewhere either under a photo or I'll add one more embellishment. But until I get my photos, I didn't know where I wanted the 3rd one to go. It might be here, it might be up here, it might just be another little tag. So that's why that's sitting there. So here's another one. And again, I've got some embellishments ready to go here. I've got my 6 inches. I've padded it out with sort of 3 inches, this time not so much paper. I had a very large stamp that I wanted to be my decoration, but it comes out to about 3 inches above. And I'm probably going to put that there, without seeing which photos I've got, but I could do something like that. So again, I've got that triangulation, and I'm going to be able to put my photos all over here. I could even do a little bit of journaling in there. But I'd love this layout. Okay, it's a great foundation. So let me show you one more so you can see an actual completed page made with a different paper. And I don't want to overwhelm you here. But again, this is 6 inches here. I think this is 2 inches here. I've left a 1 inch gap that I've put some stamping in, but this could just be 3 inches of paper. Okay, so again, another variation in the way I've put the photos. I've got a few smaller ones, 3x3s, 4x4s, and that triangle is created with the embellishments. So it's really easy to repeat, really, and every one of them looks a little bit different. One more level, and this one I have shown on other videos, but in fact it is very simple or similar to the 6 and 3 rule. Okay, this time I haven't used, because I've filled my photos across in that 6-inch slab, I've actually brought my paper down to the 3-inch area. And the 3 inch has actually been split between here. I think it's 2.5. Let's have a look. Yep, that's 2.5 and sort of a 1/2 inch at the top. So still 6 and 3. I've extended it out a little bit with a border and an extra bit of stamping here, but it's still got that same concept. Now, is this fancy compared to the others? Absolutely. But I've still got a little bit of a triangle happening here. Okay, sort of a main feature, and there's a lot of stuff happening at the top, so I've just put a little bit at the bottom here, or you could even count that really. So, but you can see how this, just try to imagine that slab across the middle with some photos, either, as I said here, I've got them just set on the white, and I've used the photos as they are, or in the other examples that I've shown you. So there's a number of examples. So let's talk a little bit about selecting photos, selecting papers. So sometimes I'm driven by some photos that I really want to do, and I'm hoping that that's what you've done today. And sometimes I'm driven by some paper that I really want to use. There's no right and wrong way to do this, but obviously you've got to have something that has at least some elements that are drawn in. Patterns, I personally prefer a softer pattern in terms of not too heavy on the eye. So we're going to be having a look at this one here. I love me a check. And there's also a stripe somewhere in here because I am going to use it. It's obviously on the back of one of these. Actually, I think there it is. It's on the back of that one, and I've cut the other one up. Beautiful flowers in here. But what I've picked to go with this paper and these photos, and I've got a few more underneath here, is some photos here of my daughter. So I've got the sort of, have I got the exact colours? No, but the pink here. And I do want to feature these two photos of my daughter being a little bit crazy. This one here, she put the headphones on, and I said, looks like your pigtails are coming out of your headphones. There's a little story behind that one. May or may not use this one, I'm not sure, but I've got quite a few photos that have sort of got this blue glacier. Now this doesn't have glacier in it, but I know I can push the papers towards this depending on which papers. What I wanted to show you was just there's a range of papers here. My personal approach is to pick one main pattern and maybe a complementary little bit of pattern. So what I've chosen today, now I could have gone really flowery, this would really work depending on my photos. I do love this one here. So as you can see, I had prepared it. If I had the right photos, I love to do that yellow check. That would be just gorgeous. But the ones that I have picked from this pack, as we move this out of the way, is these ones here, which is the soft pink. Throw my photos down here. So this is one of the things I do. It's just throwing the photos down and getting a feel for does my eye feel comfortable with that? So I'm bringing out the pink. I'm probably going to use a little bit more of the pink. I don't tend to put two patterns right together, although a strong stripe next to the soft pink would work, but I can also break that with something in between. And I'm going to push myself. I'm actually going to use the floral because I think these are really cute photos. Little girl, I'm not so little girl anymore, but girl as opposed to teen. And that'll also allow me to dress it up a little bit, maybe with some flowers, which, and this is things you can look for in the pattern paper. So do you have embellishments, whether that be stickers, stamps, or whatever that go with this immediately? Or do some of your papers have elements that you can cut out? So here's some paper, the paper in that pack that has butterflies on it. I could cut that out. That one there has flowers on it, and there's also this one here that I could cut flowers out of this that's going to go perfectly with that too if I wanted to. Today what I've already chosen is a stamp set that I've got. Now you don't have to be a stamper to do this. I've just shown you a couple of other options that you can use. Cutting out from paper that you have. You can use circles and a couple of tags, and I'll show you that too because I'm going to break the video. I'll have time to prepare that. But this was a Stamp and Thin Cut set. Now I purposely haven't stamped them yet because I haven't decided what colours I'm going to do, so I might decide to go with a sort of a floral arrangement. The butterflies would also look good on this page, and I may pull out some. Now she's wearing more of a glacier, but the sage colour that's in this pack, and how do I know what's in this pack? Depending on who you've bought your paper from, zip strips often tell you the colours of cardstock that go with them. And I must admit, I do love that about our papers, that the cardstock matches what we've got in here, and I could decide which colours. I do like the toffee that's in here, but given the photos that I've selected, and I'll probably just put a small strip of toffee, I might still do that. With the photos I've selected, I'm probably not going to lean that way, but if I want to pull it back, and even that side's a little bit softer, a strip of toffee in there it's really going to change it. And I've got the other options here. So there you can see the bluebell. I really didn't like that with the glacier. I think it isn't where I want to take it. So the sage and the ballerina, which are the other two colours here, and I've got the reverse side which are a bit deeper. I just have to be careful of that pink. So I've got options for my embellishments. I've got my 6-inch. I'm thinking now here I could, let's have a look at the photos that I've got. If I I had a couple here. I had some others here, but the blue, now these aren't all taken at the same time. They're a general similar time frame. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a little story about my kooky, crazy, funny, loving daughter, and some little stories about this one and this one. So I'm talking out loud. I'm telling you sort of what's in my brain, some of the decisions I'm making. But what I want you to do is make those decisions fairly fast. Today, don't dwell on them. Don't stress about them. But I want you to find, remember, a 12-inch piece of paper or 2 6-inch strips. And I want you to find a complementary, some strips. If you want to be a stamper, you may have some words that go along here. You may have some flowers. You may have a border strip of stamping. But don't worry too much about that. What we're going to do is keep this fairly simple today. Okay, so I'm sitting down to stick this down. And now I've got to make decisions about where all these pieces go. I think the main thing with this foundation design would be really just keeping an inch at the top or the bottom. Now, that may be, 3/4 of an or 1.5 inch and, less at the bottom or whatever, but sort of working on 10 inches, so an inch top and bottom generally. I love using my little Versamat because it does help me to, so I don't have to keep getting the ruler out. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is stick this, leave a full inch at the top. I'm going to leave 1.25 inches at the bottom, just so that it doesn't look too symmetrical, perfectly the same. And it also adds some weight to the stripe here. The other thing I'm thinking, I've got a couple of smaller photos, so I'm going to be able to put those down here. I haven't decided whether I'm going to trim that. They're actually the same photo. And got some others here somewhere. I'm not worrying too much about where the photos are going, but I'm just sort of looking at what photos I have, how many of them are full size. Like that has to be, it could be cut down, but I probably want it full size. I definitely want this full size. So these two have stories. So I'm thinking I want to keep this fairly open, but I may have a few smaller photos here that would allow me on one side or the other to put a title or to put my journaling. So that could be more of the feature. I don't have to worry about stamping. Also, if I have some white space here and I'm going to use some of these stamped embellishments, then it's going to allow them to shine in that area without taking away from the photos. So that's my thinking in terms of where I put this. So I'm just going to stick these down now. So 1 inch here, 1.25 inches. I'm probably going to leave a 1/4 inch in between that. And that's still going to give me, what have I got there? 1.5 to 2.25 up the top. So let's do that now. Let's talk a little bit about cardstock colours. So I've just laid out a couple of the colours here. I've sort of narrowed it down a little bit, and I could have included a coloured strip in between here if you don't want so much white. I like this light and somewhere for the eye to rest with these photos because she's got quite a bit of white in the photos themselves. I'm going to let the sage, even though this is technically it's a glacier colour, it actually goes okay. It's sort of got enough green in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of the sage in. Haven't decided where yet. I have decided to include this photo even though it's got some bright blues. And the ballerina colour that goes with this, as you can see, it's beautiful and soft. The reverse side, the darker, is more of a peachy tone, which I don't like It does go with those photos up there, but I don't like it with the pinks in my photos. So this is where you can push colours. So the next pink that I have is our new flamingo, and it goes better for me with this while still going with the pink up there. So this is just my personality because I like a little bit of brightness, and I'm using colours that are a little bit more muted for me. You notice that I'm pulling these colours out, whereas somebody else might go for, you know, this colour here. Okay, so they're the colours that I'm going to pull through. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to matte this photo on this and make it a feature photo. And just because, again, she's got some white, I'm going to have a very narrow white bit here. I've got a bit of room there to play with. I've also got room for the matte and the photo. Probably going to put this one something like this. I haven't quite worked out yet, but what I'm going to do now is cut a matte for this, maybe some little embellishments and a couple of colours, might do my stamping, and I'm going to come back to you so that I can start to lay it out. Okay, so making some mental decisions and thoughts, even if they're not all conclusive, about what cardstock I need. Okay, so I've been away and just cut some embellishments with my thin cuts. You may already have stickers, you may have cut some flowers from your paper or some other shape. Okay, but as I was cutting these hearts, I realised she has hearts in a t-shirt here and little pink hearts here. So I was like, that helped me decide. The natural thing would be to put flowers on here, even the butterflies. I might put a butterfly, but I'm starting to bring this pink out. That is just my natural personality. I like the brighter colours in here. I like them against the soft pink. It helps for the little bit of colour that's in the photos to pop out. I've also just cut a couple little strips here, 1/4 inch strip, a 3/8 strip. Sometimes I just like that extra little bit of something at the bottom or an additional strip. It might be at the top. Let's have a look at it this way. So I often put a really fine strip on the page. Sometimes it just finishes it if I think it needs a bit more. And I might decide that as I start sticking down and decide what I'm doing here. I might even cut a title. If I decide not to go with a big flower embellishment here, I might cut a title in some thin cuts. But I'm liking the way I cut some thin cut tabs. These are the tags and tabs, tags and tabs thin cuts. I think I like the rounded edge ones because it goes well with the rounded edge there, but I've got a couple, you can see I've cut them in each colour. So I'm just going to have a play with that now and see what comes out. I might just cut my title first and I've got to leave room for some journaling. So I may even put a journal box on this side that will balance back the big pink here. So that might be a way to go. So let's see what happens when I have a play. So I've progressed a little further. I'm not one to stick much down. I've just got my foundation down. I haven't even stuck these strips down, but I generally, this is my way of doing things anyway, and there's no right or wrong way, but some people say, how do you go from foundation to completed page? So I've just been moving the photos around. I didn't move much here. This was too close to this, and these are the both, because they're both a really heavy pink compared to the rest. I just separated these a little. Obviously the way I had the hearts laid before, that was just to see the colours. So I'm starting to arrange clusters of 3. So this is not how they'll finish up. That's just some colours. Just trying out whether I like the black, because I like a little black on the page sometimes. I'm not sure if I really need to stay away from it this time. But I'm not sure that I like the flamingo there. Oh, sorry, the flamingo ink around that. I can see me putting black ink here, so I'm thinking, and black writing. So I'm thinking just a little bit of black ink on some of the embellishments. And then the heading can still go there. So I'm just still playing a little bit, but what I'm going to do is stick down the strips, stick down most of the photos, so that I can make final decisions about where I'm going to stick these hearts, and I'll go away and cut the heading, because that I think will help me decide about that too. Okay, so I've been working away with my trusty foam tape and my favourite sharp scissors, putting foam tape on everything so it's sort of reversed around and ready to go down. But the first thing I want to do is, now that I've decided to go with some black, I want to put a little border around here. So I'm just going to pull this to the side, and the key is keeping this elbow grounded. And I'm just going to let's have a look at how we cut these. Just some little tips here. So this is my favourite lettering stamp set at the moment. It's called Stacey's Hand, designed by Stacey Julian. And all I've done is stamp the letters individually. And then I'm just going to cut round, leaving a border, if you see this one here. And all I do is, with a nice pair of sharp scissors, go around the edge, and I'm basically keeping my hands fairly much where they are, and I am turning the paper, just opening the scissors again as I sort of don't get too close to the point because it's harder to control. So I'm sort of working from, I don't know, halfway down the scissors to 2/3 the way down the scissors. Just holding it in your hands. It's a little bit harder because it's a smaller word, just 2 letters. But you can see this hand here is not moving at all, or my arm rather. I'm just using my fingers and thumbs to control squeezing in. Now, oops, I've overstepped there, but no one's going to see that. And then a little bit of foam tape. So there we have it. So my 6-inch banner across here is the base. I've got that sort of 3-inch happening here, but most of it's actually, you know, bare paper, which I've filled with embellishments, so that was a feature. I'd never started out thinking about hearts. I was thinking about the butterflies, but it was only as it played out, and I could have gone another way because there are some flowers on here. But the hearts just spoke to me on her shirt here, as well as being on her shirt here. So you'll see here, on this one here, I've decided not to centre the journal box. I've butted it up against the edge, so it's another feature. It just sort of, your eye runs onto the page, and further enhanced by the black going around the edge. So I do have a little bit of a, I do prefer a little bit of black around things. Even though this is a very soft thing, it just gives it a little pop. So a little bit of black around here, black on the white, so it makes the white stand out, a little bit of the black in the heading, but the nice soft pink. And then I've brought the pink together, sort of across here and down here. It's probably a little bit more than a triangle, but if you consider that a cluster, there's the heading. I'm really happy with that. Really happy with that. It hasn't taken me long, but you can see how this looks very different to my other layouts. So I cannot wait to see what you have produced with your photos and your layout. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what the experience was like. Whether that was your struggle, whether you couldn't find the photos, whether you had photo. I'm here to give you feedback. So I would love to hear from you. But I hope for now that the exploration of your first layout, either ever or in some time, has been an enjoyable one. And I look forward to reading some comments either underneath this video or directly in my personal Facebook Messenger, and would love to hear from you. So enjoy that for now. Conversation number 3 will be coming up probably in another week or 2. So look out for that, and bye for now.